Yeah, yeah. Sounds so good, wouldn't you agree?
Turn that shit up.
Shot for you, shot for me.
Only the real can relate.
Mike Fuego.
House of Fire.
Amazing Most. It's privy. This for that part of me that was styled by poverty. The hood in my veins now was clogging my arteries. It gave me vision, it also made it hard to see. I seen the artistry within the armed robbery. We got our 3-bedroom from a lottery, where you could catch a leg wound trying to find your key. You need that extra leg room when you find the V. Richer in the fansuits is what we bout to be. Brick sales, now every lobby got fish scales. Broke women who only hobby was rich males. You do 1 3 to 9, you take a big L. Then they throw that in your face, now how that shit smell. I'm coming home better than I used to be. I know the man in the mirror gon' shoot for me. I don't really trust niggas, truthfully. It's the privy, no motherfucking juice for me. I played them project games. Before Bloods and Crips, we had project gangs. They tried to jump me after school, but my projects came. Somebody ate your food, you had to digest pain. Damn, we came a long way from cane dealing.
Peace, peace, peace. Peace to the gods and earths and all the positive people in the universe. My name is Anthony GMATH WOMBLE, and you are now listening to my podcast, Styled by Poverty, the Archives, brought to you by the good people of the VANDAL Hour. Make sure you check us out on our YouTube page at S.STREET Media. Make sure you check out our website, our new website at www.sstreetmedia.info. www.sstreetmedia.info. Today's episode is called Foul Nutrition. The reason why I called it Foul Nutrition, and this is the definition: nutrition is the biochemical and physiological process by which an organism, us, uses food to support its life. It includes ingestion, absorption, assimilation, biosynthesis, catabolism, and excretion, aka shitting, aka this is the shit that you need to survive, grow, and reproduce. This is food, aka knowledge, aka information. So foul nutrition is bad information, bad knowledge, and a lot of us receive that at a early age. A lot of us was taught the wrong foods, whether it was through media, whether it was through environment, whether it was through household. A lot of us was taught the wrong nutrition. Later on, I'm going to get deeper into that and how that relates to the show today. I also have a poem that I'm going to be I'm going to actually read called Foul Nutrition. But before we get into all of that, man, before we get into all of that, I have a special guest on the show tonight. Is my guest there right now?
Yes, sir. What up, what up, what up?
Yo, so let me introduce to y'all my childhood friend for majority of my life, my man LBNS. How you doing, God?
I'm good, man. I'm home just chilling, relaxing. What's good with you, brother?
Man, everything is good, man. The reason why I wanted to speak to you, man, you know, we build a lot. I've known you for a long time. We build a lot. And, you know, you have a very interesting perspective. You came from the same projects, Winsburg projects.
Yes, sir.
You know what I mean?
Block 2 all day.
Shout out to Block 2. You know what I mean? I'm a Block 3 person. If you don't know, Winsburg had four blocks: Block 1, Block 2, Block 3, and Block 4. My man Al BNS is from Block 2. We call it the half block. We call it the half block. No, respectfully.
Yeah.
Respectfully. So, you know, the reason why I wanted you on to speak to you, because, you know, a lot of people may not know you grew up in our same environment, you grew up in our same neighborhood. Some of the things you was doing that we did also, but you went a different route.
Mm-hmm.
You went a different
Yeah.
route. And the route that
Yeah,
you
yeah.
went is to become an officer for New
Yeah.
York City.
Yes, sir.
First of all, I want you to
Yes,
speak
sir.
to the people a little bit about your growing your background and you growing up and,
Okay.
and where you grew up at.
Well, I grew up Block 2 for close to 30 years. Close to 30 years on Block 2. I grew up, you know, doing the same old things, running around in 49 Eastern District, from Block 1, Block 2, Block 3, and 4, you know, during Williamsburg days. There was always the battle of who was going to have the better barbecue going on what block. You know what I'm saying?
Facts.
And then it was always a thing of like once night fell, you know, it was a matter of like, okay, what we drinking? You know what I'm saying? Because that's when we all would just get together. And you know, at one point, some of us thought we were rappers, so we would get into little ciphers and build and rap. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise than that, man, it was always love, man. There was never no real drama between all 4 blocks. You know, there was always those that you didn't get along with, but at the end of the day, when it came to Williamsburg Day, it was all love. We were all breaking bread with each other, cracking jokes and busting chops. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed. So let me ask you this, man. When you know you was growing up, we around the same age. You know, how did you see the environment? How did you see the environment? Because today's, you know, episode is called Foul Nutrition. And what I mean by foul nutrition, I mean by the wrong foods. And a lot of the environment was wrong. But what did you see in this environment?
Well, and with us, man, it was always a thing of like if we were hanging out on one of the arches, it was always, you know, go get some Chinese food and sit on the arch and drink some beers all night. You know what I'm saying? And play dominoes or spades, either one, you know, whichever one came first. You know what I'm saying? Nutritionally at home, it was very different. I'm Puerto Rican. So, you know, rice and beans is a staple in the home. You know what I'm saying? But there was still a lot of different factors. You know, my mom's always tried to throw a vegetable out there, but I was a big boy. So my thing was rice, beans, and meat. I didn't believe in salads. You know what I'm saying? But it was never pushed on me either, you know?
Nah, but what I mean, but hold it for a sec. But what I mean by nutrition, I'm not even talking about food. I'm talking about the knowledge. I'm talking about the environment.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Our environment.
It was different, bro.
There was a lot
different,
of
man.
They was feeding us a lot of the wrong nutrition, and what I mean by wrong information, wrong knowledge. So, as a person growing up in the 80s and 90s, what did you see in the environment, man? What did you see? What was you seeing in the environment? Because we grew up during the crack era. We grew up during it was wild times.
I mean, the cops that were in the neighborhood weren't too friendly. They were never very friendly with us. You know what I'm saying? When we would be hanging out on the arch, it was always a curse word that may come out once or twice because they wanted us to leave it, or it was just the nonsense beef that some of our friends would get into. You know what I'm saying? It was just nonsense. Like, we lost a lot of good people from the birds. Like, we lost Fish. We lost Blink.
Facts.
We lost Dog. You know what I'm saying? The main one, Sugar Ray. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
Over stupid shit. Over stupid stuff that never had to go down that route. You know what I'm saying? And then it was just like, at our age, back then to the kids now, like, we had a higher respect for our elders. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could go to another block and there was always someone that either knew your aunt, your mother, your sister, your father from the bodega, something. That if they saw you doing something wrong and they gave you a look or cussed you out because you did something stupid, you stood shut. God forbid you raise your voice or even try to step to them on some physical interaction with them because they were scolding you on something you did wrong.
True
you
indeed.
know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
And then even with law, I mean, when one of us was either approached by a cop, we always found a way to just de-escalate and be like, yo, just chill, don't say nothing. Just let him talk, let him say what he got to say, and we'll just leave. You know what I'm saying? Like, we weren't into the whole fisticuffs of getting into it with them because we knew what would be the outcome.
Let me say this, man. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the same environment, and
Mm-hmm.
and I made a lot of the wrong decisions. You know what I mean? I had interactions with police that wasn't positive, but at the same time, I was doing a lot of shit during those times. What how did you avoid this shit? Like, how did you avoid that? Because a lot of us didn't avoid it. What do you feel was, what did you feel was one of the factors of why you didn't make these choices like we were making?
I think, I'm going to be real, man. It was like my mom was real strong on me. You know what I'm saying? She was real big on, if you end up locked up in jail, you'll never see me again. It was point blank. If you get locked up, you lose the family. Don't think we're gonna come visit you. And a lot of times it was just a thing of like, I really put a lot of thought into any type of nonsense, and I was quick to walk away from a hot situation. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It was just me. I've always been, to this day, I'm like that. I could pull away from a hot situation and take the high road and be like, it is what it is. I'm not going to feed into it. I'm not going to do it. And then, like I said, law was different. And, you know, like a lot of the stuff that I do with the kids in the projects in my neighborhood where I police, I wish we had that when we were younger. You know what I'm saying? We never had that. We never had, like, them come in and try to build that bridge. Like, you know, it's like over here, you know, I would do a cops and kids football game, cops and kids basketball game, cops and kids softball game. I did like a community, a youth leadership council where I gathered kids from junior high schools and one of the baddest high schools in Staten Island. And like maybe 15, 20 kids where I would teach them how to fill out job applications, how to sit down for an interview, how to properly write out stuff. Real life situations, you know, I was able to get them trips to things that would really open their eyes to what it is that's out there, like the opportunities they have and what's the outcome if they chose another path.
Let me ask you a question. I want you to speak to my audience about the program that you do. What's the name of the program, and what are y'all doing in this program?
Well, it's called the Youth Leadership Council. I was doing it at one point, but the unit that I was in, it got disbanded because of everything going on with changes in the department.
Okay.
But it was a thing that, like I said, I would gather 15, 20 kids between junior high school and high school and then sit them down and give them real life situations. Like I would get them to, I would actually have them fill out job applications and take them to a job interview. Teach them how to say yes instead of yeah, not to go into the pause of no, you know, and we also did a lot of things within the community, you know, like I did a thing for Halloween that it was one of the biggest things out here, and it just took off like wildfire. And then what I do is in the summer, I do a summer camp sponsored by the police department dedicated to kids from 10 to 17 years old. And we give them life lessons. We tell them about the law. So, you know, we explain low-level crimes to high-level crimes. You know, I have a lot of guest speakers that come in. Like a lot of my friends are corrections. They'll come in and, you know, we'll separate them and we'll give them the real deal. You know, we'll separate the 10 to 12, 13 years old. Because, you know, we cater to ages. Because we know when where they're most influenced. You know what I'm saying? The high school kids, I did one of the great things I did was with a friend of mine in Brooklyn. We did a cops and kids sneaker meetup where it was cops that are sneakerheads such as myself. We got together and we connected with the kids of East New York about sneaker life, the culture, how it's just not about Jordans. It was all about what sneaker matched your attire and how we fell into it. And I have a lot of like guys that have their own clothing companies. I actually gave away. Wow, I think I gave away like 10 pairs of sneakers.
Wow.
For my summer, for my summer camp. One of my friends, he's a general manager for Nike. He was able to donate 50 book bags for these kids so they could get Nike book bags so they could have them for school. I got them school supplies. I gave them Nike jerseys, all types of stuff, bro. Anything that falls in my lap that I could give to these kids. You know, I always tell the guys that I work with, you know, get out there, walk and talk. That's how we graduated. When we graduated, you were put on the corner. I was put on Marcy. That's where I graduated. When I graduated, that's exactly where I went.
Wow.
Right to the corner, Marcy and Truth.
Wow.
Marcy and Truth. Hello. You know the area.
Sure indeed.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure indeed. And most of
We
the
ran that area when we were
audience
teenagers.
listening knows that area.
So, and it was kind of like a homecoming because there were people in the area that knew me. So they were like, "What?" I'd be like, "Yeah," but I think what I give a lot of thanks to is a solid home base, and I never changed who I was from day one. You know, from the Al that you saw on the block, I'm still the same Al at 45 years old. You know what I'm saying? It's still the same way. It's still love. You know what I'm saying? And I still try to help out everyone that I can.
Let me ask you something. The streets has changed drastically. How long you been on the force now?
Total of 15 with the department, 10 as a cop.
All right, so you've been there for a while. I'm sure that you've seen the change in the streets. What change have you really seen happening in the streets? I'm gonna give an example that I've seen. You see a lot of right now. A lot of scamming is really big. The scamming thing is really, really, really big, and a lot of people don't know. A lot of the shootings revolve around that on the low. You know what I mean? A lot of these young kids is touching a lot of big paper, and you know, it's becoming wars over this. So what have you seen that has changed drastically in the streets as an officer?
I think it's gonna. I mean, you may agree. I think there's a lack of respect. You know what I'm saying? Because there have been plenty of times when I approach a situation, I get to say a word, and I'm getting cursed out, and they're ready to fight me. Meanwhile, I'm just there to de-escalate the whole situation because of the stigma that hangs over the job. I can't really get anything out. You understand? And then, and the sense of the street is like there are a lot of young kids. I'm gonna tell you, like, my guy, I think the hottest range right now is 12 to 16 years old. Man, it's sad because it's kind of like a lost society. You know what I'm saying? Because
totally
everything
lost society.
is disrespectful. You know, because I mean, I've gotten into situations where there's a humongous fight, and the person doesn't even know the person, but it's because they dislike something that they put on Facebook.
Oh, wow.
But they never met the person. They've never met the person, but because a friend said, "Hey, I showed so-and-so the post," and they didn't like it, all of a sudden, that's like something already like your heart was taken out and stepped on. You know what I mean?
Sure indeed.
But they don't get the understanding of it. I try to, but not everybody could get that knowledge and understanding of things. You know what I'm saying?
Let's talk about the stigma. You know, I can imagine during these times that there is a heavy stigma that surrounds the force these days. You know, all this stuff that's happening. What kind of energy have you been feeling as an officer since like these past 2 years? Like what's the energy as an officer? What is the energy that you're feeling in a whole? Not the in a whole. Are you feeling a negative energy coming from the people since like all this shit, the George Floyd, all this shit that's been happening?
You know what? I would say it's more of a standoffish energy. It's like when someone calls 911 and we show up, they're standoffish in the sense of they don't know if we're gonna quote unquote do an active interview and investigation toward why they're calling, or is it gonna be a thing where all of a sudden they'll look at you and be like, "Oh, he ain't gonna do nothing." Just from getting out the car, I haven't even said anything, but you know, there are times that I'll be honest with you, bro. I mean, I'm answering maybe 50 to 60 calls a day, and it's just running around, you know. So what they see is maybe an exhausted face, but not a face of someone that's not going to handle what they called for. You know what I'm saying? And then a lot of times, I mean, I've been blessed because the area I'm in, they know me very well.
Okay.
Very well. I mean, like, it's a thing of like they see me, they're like, okay. And anyone that's with me, you know, they vibe the same way I vibe when it comes to handling situations, you know. And I always try to give the brighter side of things and try to listen. You don't want to go that route. Let's just take it a step at a time and figure out what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I've been blessed because I do have a gift of gab, so that's a blessing in itself.
And so let me say this, man. You know, I have friends other than yourself that are officers. Some from the projects, mind you. You know, and you know, I know you're as people, so it's different.
Yeah.
But when you were on a job that the person doesn't know who you are, I can see, like, let me give an example. When I go through whatever I go through, I don't really go through nothing with police, but let's say the times I did, a lot of the times I don't know that person who's dealing with me as an individual. You know?
Right.
So it's different. So like when I hear these things about people talking about the police and vice versa, back and forth, a lot of the times it's coming from a place of, if that same person have a family member that's police, they treat that family member as a family member. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's when they don't know them, it's an issue. So I can understand, you know, why on both ends, whether officers looking at somebody, I dress very hip hopish, youngish. You know what I mean? So I definitely get the
looks. You
looks.
should see me when I walk into work.
True indeed.
When
That's
I walk
a fact.
into, well, you already know. The low thing is our thing always. You know that.
That's
You
a
know
fact.
what I'm saying? So I walk in with my J's or my Air Maxes, with my polo hat or my fitted to match, and it's like a whole different realm because they're like, bro, do you work here? I'm like, yeah, I work here, bro. Like they say it jokingly, you know what I'm saying? Like at one point, I was the bosses would come to me for whatever sneaker releases were coming out because they would want me to work the mall to make sure nothing happens. You know what I'm saying?
Do you ever go through somebody seeing you or officer wise that don't know you, and do you go through any hostile moments, or do you ever go through a moment that people look at you as the perp?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Sometimes it's happened. You know what I'm saying? It's happened. You know, in situations where it's like, really, bro? And I'm like, you know, I'm on the job. And they're like, what? I'm like, yeah. And they're like, oh, no, my fault, whatever. I'm like, it's all good. Don't worry about it. You know what I'm saying? I don't make a big deal of it. You know what I'm saying? But then I do school them at the same time, you know, which I can't say on here.
No, I understand.
You know what I mean?
But let me here's one for you, man. When a negative cop does something, how do you feel?
I'm a man about mine. If I feel that they did something wrong, I talk to them. I put them to the side and we'll have a conversation. And again, like as adults, you can agree to disagree. But I will let them know that I sometimes, you know, what I felt was a better way to handle something. You know what I mean? Because I can't tell someone, like, I can't tell, let's put it like this. I can't tell you how to do a throw up. You feel me?
True indeed.
Because I for damn sure don't know how to do it. I'm not as good as you guys. You know what I'm saying? But I can tell them, be like, yo, you could have handled something a little differently. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you didn't get my chance. You should have tried a different approach, you know? But some guys, you know, they're in their own ways and they see things their way. So keep it moving. But I am one that tends to have one-on-ones with a lot of guys once in a while. You know what I mean? And like I said, we can always agree to disagree. That's what makes us men. You know,
That's a fact.
that's what makes us men.
That's a fact. I will imagine, that, with even as being being an officer, that everybody is on your side. Everybody ain't together in kumbaya. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
everybody, there's personalities, there's different, different backgrounds, people coming from different places. So I can imagine everybody is not exactly on the same page. Everybody is, everybody experience dictates a different movement,
Yes, yes, yes. Yeah, that's like with kids. My thing is, if they have a positive interaction with someone in the law enforcement field, regardless of what it is, school safety, anyone. If you make a positive impact on that one kid, that one interaction could last a lifetime, or it could just start putting that person in the right direction where they may slip and fall again, but they'll think of the interaction that they had and then try to straighten up. You know what I'm saying?
True indeed.
Because I remember one time I was driving down Grand Avenue and there was this guy sitting in front of a pizzeria. And I was like, yo, what's up, kid? Yo, what's up, kid? And they were refusing to look up. You know who that guy is?
When that happened, I'm gonna keep it real with you. All I heard was my name being called, and I seen the van. I said, I don't know nothing. They not calling me. I don't know. So let me say this, man. And when I get off the phone with you, I'm gonna give a few of my police interactions. But I'm gonna say this, man. I have a stepfather, rest in peace, who was a correction officer. So I grew up in a household of law enforcement. Did that dictate my me going a different route? No, but I definitely have an understanding. For a person in law enforcement, I'm going to say this. My stepfather worked on Rikers Island. Gregory Paris, a very well-known captain of corrections. He worked in medical for over 25 years. So whenever a person came through Rikers Island, they had to go past him. So he met almost everyone who came onto Rikers Island. I used to walk with him in the streets as a kid. And I'm telling you, criminals would stop him. Paris, never a negative. I'm gonna say this wholeheartedly. I never went anywhere, and he took me Bronx, Manhattan, Queens, Brooklyn, and that he ever had a person who was on Rikers Island, come at him negative while I was there. So he had a good reputation. So I could look at law enforcement as an individual. Now, when I was living a life of crime, I looked at it differently. But as who I am now, who I evolved to be, I don't look at it as a whole. I don't look at nothing as whole. I don't look at black people as whole. I don't look at police officers as a whole. I don't look at another race as a whole. Because when you do that, it becomes you'll become jaded. You become jaded by whatever thought
biased.
that one person.
You become biased.
It become biased to that one, whatever that one interaction it was. You gonna judge the whole, and I don't. You know what I mean? As a child, I did. As an adult, I don't.
Right.
My last thing I want to kick it with you about. I'm about the community as well as you are about the community.
Oh, yeah, you know that, bro.
How can we improve community relations between the community and officers? Give me a way that we can help improve as an individual. How can we help improve the relations between the police and community?
By understanding, man. You got to try to understand. Everyone has a different opinion and a different voice. You know what I'm saying? You're going to either be rogue about it or you're going to be respectful into the... Because if you rogue, then how can you get your point across when all you're putting across is negativity?
You're going to say that for me one more time. Repeat exactly what you just said one more time, because I had hit the mute real quick. Hit that. Say that one more time.
They got to be understanding and not be rogue about whatever it is they're going to talk about. Because if you're going to sit at the table, you can't sit with a bias or
a chip on your shoulder.
Or you can't sit down and just say, and you can't say, I'm going to sit down and try to talk to them, but I'm not going to listen to what they think. So then you're not going to get nowhere. You understand?
True indeed.
You got to be able to understand both angles and both sides of the quarter before you can fully come to an agreement. You know, it's like they say, it's your story, his story, and the truth. So if y'all get together the right way, y'all can both come up with the truth. You know?
That's a fact. That's a fact, man. Yo, I so appreciate you giving me
no doubt.
Giving me some time. You was our first call-in interview. You know what I mean? Our actual third guest that we have had on the show. You know, I just want people to see that, you know, the show Styled by Poverty isn't one-sided. It ain't one dimension. I'm going to give all sides of the story, all sides of the coin, all sides of the history. And I want, even if sometimes I may look bad, you know what I mean? But I'm going to give every side of the dimension. And I have friends that are officers and I have friends that are criminals. So I want people to, you know, have an idea. The Styled by Poverty is mathematics world. Mathematics world has a lot of different characters, have a lot of different inspirational people in my life, people who support what I do, and they all come from different backgrounds. So I wanted the people to speak. I wanted people to hear from you. You know, you from the hood. Everybody know you. So I'm glad you came and talked to the God.
Thank you. Appreciate it, man.
You know what I mean? Keep doing what you do. Be safe out there, man. And as I always say to any person who I know that is an officer of the law, just like you said, just have some understanding and have an open mind, man.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you, bro. Have a good one.
You have a good night. Peace.
Peace.
Yeah. You hear how I'm coming, man. You hear how I'm coming. Foul nutrition, man. This episode is foul nutrition, and I want to just address the different wrong foods that have been fed to us, you know, as a child and sometimes as an adult, man. So my man Al, I wanted him to give his outlook on being a police officer, and especially coming from Williamsburg Projects, man. You know, the wrong foods is deeper than you know, drinking soda and eating candy. The wrong foods, as I said earlier, can be environment, can be the music that we listen to, what we watching on TV, social media. A lot of these vehicles feed us the wrong foods. Some might even say, like, when you talk about the internet, that there's an agenda being pushed. Or not, forget the internet. When you talk about media, period, that there's an agenda being pushed. And deeper than just in media, but in government, education, judicial. Some people feel that there's an agenda being pushed. Even with fashion. Fashion is crossing boundaries now. You have men and women dressing in similar clothes, like clothes not being clearly defined as woman or male. You have a lot of new ideas being pushed now. A lot of ideas that wasn't of the Christian America. A lot of new ideas is out there. So even when you talk about social media, personally, I'm not even really dealing with social media like I used to. I personally took a step back from social media. I was spending a lot of time on Instagram and on Facebook and other platforms. Come to find out, maybe 2-3 hours worth of time was being used on social media. And I had came across an article, funny thing, on social media that talked about the time that we are using on social media and how social media has become the #1 time spender outside of the radio and television. Me, I'm a business person. I can't be wasting time that I could be doing things of relevance, things that can help my business, things that can help me in life. That's where my social media time should be going. Since I haven't been fucking with social media, I've been getting a lot done. I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been getting a lot done. What I've been using social media for now is basically pushing my businesses, pushing my creative projects, marketing, things of that sort. I'm not really using it on a personal level. I used to put a lot of what books I was reading, what I was doing, where my head is at mentally, memes and stuff like that. I fell back from that. Not to say that anything is wrong with that, but I had to take a break from that. I just feel that it seems the internet and social media is dumbing us down. We are not applying deep thought as we used to. I'm going to give you an example. If you listen to YouTube a lot, then or you constantly are bombarded with commercials. So now you're thinking of a thought, you got your music rocking out and shit like that. You thinking of a thought and then boom, a commercial comes up and then you got to push skip. And then you got to push skip again. And you constantly doing this on a normal basis, but you so used to doing it, you so used to your thoughts being chopped up and divided. Sometimes you can't even remember the thought you was thinking before you had to push skip. This, I feel, is not helpful to the intellect. It's not helpful to the person who needs deep thought. It ain't helpful for a person who is trying to execute their ideas. Is this part of the so-called agenda that I was speaking about? Is this part of the statistic where our attention span is this short, but there's a million commercials happening within 3 minutes, but our attention span is so-called short? This is all part of the foul nutrition that I'm talking about. We need to be eating the right foods. We need to be eating the right foods. There was a time where I thought that what was happening in the streets was law. Where I thought that was what we supposed to be doing. What we were supposed to be, how we supposed to be moving. But a lot of that shit was foul nutrition. I done had a lot of running with the law. Running with the law. And a lot of it came from my thinking. a lot of it was not the right way to think, but the frame of mind that's being pushed in the ghettos, in the projects, in the streets. It's that foul nutrition. You know? And now the foul nutrition comes in many forms. Many forms. We are being attacked, whether through fashion. We are being attacked through social media, internet. We are being attacked through the educational system. We are being attacked by the medical system. Here's a poem I wrote called Foul Nutrition. And you know, I always like to read a poem to y'all. You know, this poem was written in prison also. It was written by me, Anthony, GMATH WOMBLE, and it's called Foul Nutrition. But basically, it is where my mind was when I was in the streets. So here we go. Where ends meet, I journey. Peddling problems on benches to the unwanted and their siblings for my materialistic grandeur. Intoxicated on everything illegal, consumed by cocaine's prettiness. With my insular eyes, sleepless and unmoved, I divulge. An American dream gone astray, lost in the veil of greed's womb. I'm tormented, tortured constantly by addicts and their addictions, and my addictions that birth more addictions I can't evade. Draped in 10-karat gold, handguns and women, I'm actual in this concrete jungle where pushers get pushed and the eye in the sky is on our backs like tattoos in unmarked cars and on rooftops watching the producer and consumer sleepwalk through this labyrinth of zombies, boulevard of broken dreams where the damned stay damned and the epidemic lives. And that's called foul nutrition. You know, I like reading my poems because my poems give you a insight that I sometimes can't explain in words and not in off the top of my head words. You know, so that's what the poems like. The poems are like a little bit of insight into my subconscious. Now, for non-trending topics, yeah, you heard what I just said. Now for non-trending topics. I am hyped right now, man. I am hyped. I got a concert coming up. If you haven't seen it on Instagram, it's called the Blockwork Concert, being thrown by S.STREET Media. Man, it's gonna be crazy, man. It's crazy, man. I got Smoke Dizza locked in. I got Cortez locked in. I got Starvin B locked in. I got DJ Swift locked in, and I got a whole lot of other dope people that's going to be involved. This is going to be a celebrity concert with celebrity performances. We're going to have exclusive vendors. We're going to have exclusive media coverage, man. This is big, man. So mark down a date. December 17th, 2021. It takes place on 8th, It takes place in the Bronx. We will be selling tickets over Eventbrite. You can buy them from me directly, hard copy, whatever. The tickets are $50. We're going to have at least 11 of the biggest New York MCs, man. I can't tell you who I'm working on, man. But I already have Smoke Dizza locked in, Cortez, and Starvin B. So I'm setting it off correctly, man. Also, man, last week was my business partner cover B-Day, man, which was fucking dope. My mentor / friend / business partner cover of Umbrella Studios, of COD Music. Man, he had everybody there. I couldn't stay long. My man J-Lo was there. You had Conan in there. You had Dot in there. You had Brooklyn in there. You had so many, even Dice Peso. So many dope performers and creatives was in there, man. I only could stay for an hour and a half. I'm mad, but shout out to my business partner, Cover COD, man. Celebrate for the whole month, God. Also, man, I got S.STREET Media YouTube page back, man. You heard? Yeah. So make sure you check us out on S.STREET Media, S_street_media on Instagram. Our page is back. Make sure you follow us. We let you know everything that's going on, all our events, our podcasts, everything that we're connected to. We post on our Instagram page and we post on our S.STREET Media Facebook page. So make sure you check that out. Also, my man Skanks, man. Shout out to my man Skanks, who just had an album release party that S.STREET Media threw. It was called Bulletproof Confidence, man. It was crazy, man. It was crazy, man. We had a lot of dope performers in the building, man. We had a lot of dope MCs in the building. We had Bernadette, Sean P's wife in the building. We had Pranslow, Jukes Diamonds, Roy the Rama of Reinhardt TV, General Smack, Vanessa Smiles, Bobby Stone, Beyonce Knows It All. Man, it was a house full of dope MCs, man. Dope personalities. My man Free Guard tore it down. Smack tore it. Frankie Smack tore it down, man. Greaseball caught a body. Wansburg was in the building, man. It was crazy, man. It was crazy, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. I had a great time. We're gonna be doing album release parties for a whole lot of other people. Be on the lookout for the Free Guard is dropping, or he dropped his new EP with 6 Man Entertainment. So we're gonna be doing a album release party or EP release party for him. So let me speak to you all, man, about one of my days last week, man, which was fucking cool. I went out to a bookstore with my friend. Shout out to my friend. You know what I mean? She's a supporter of Style by Poverty. She's a fellow book reader as myself. She's heavy into the books also. So we went to check out some books, pick up some books. She took me to Strands. I never been to Strands bookstore. It was a great experience, man. They had vinyl records there. The setup was dope. 3 floors, 4 floors of books. The vinyl section was crazy. I picked up 2 books. I picked up one on t-shirts, and I picked up one on design, clothes design. Real dope books. But it was just a great experience, man. I'm so used to going to Barnes and Nobles and how their joint is set up that the Strand setup was a breath of fresh air. I thought they closed all the Strands in New York, but I'm mistaken. There's one open on 14th Street. If you've never been to the Strands on 14th Street, check it out, man. To me, I had a great experience, you know. Speaking of, you know, being set up, because I said that Strand setup was great. It was. Speaking of setups, a lot of y'all are being set up by your dealer. Let me explain to y'all what I mean. A lot of y'all are buying into this rapper weed myth. What the fuck is going on? I don't understand why people are spending so much money on eighths and ounces, you know, this is crazy, man. The weed prices are becoming commercialized. The weed business, period, is becoming commercialized. Ever since the legalization of weed, it's been getting crazy. And let me say, it was actually happening before the legalization of weed. During the time of the pandemic, you started hearing rapper weed. You know, I call it rapper weed. I heard other people refer to it as rapper weed. But this rapper weed shit is bullshit. Dudes are selling eighths for $80. What the fuck is on your mind? You're bugging out. You're bugging out. You need to get bunked in your head with a fucking hammer. You know? Weed, there is different strains, there's different prices, but never to the point that you are paying ounce prices for eighths. You can only get so high. You can only get so high. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I started hearing this rapper weed shit right before the pandemic. And what happened was, when they gave out that free money, the government gave out that free money, that unemployment money, that stimulus money, a lot of people who had lost their jobs or got, you know, kicked off their jobs, whatever, a lot of people came into the weed business. They felt, you know, I got to keep money going on and shit like that. So they came into the weed business. They don't know that they was getting jerked. These people wasn't familiar with the weed business, and they was going to people familiar with the weed business to buy weed. They was going to the middleman to buy weed. This is where I believe these prices came from. See, if these people who came into the weed business during the pandemic and prior to, if they knew the business, then they would not have been paying the prices that they was paying, which in turn turned the prices higher. With so many of these people out there, they kind of influenced the market. So now everybody was selling their weed at a high price. I wasn't. I don't follow these trends, you know, and I'm trying to get my shit off fast. But the rapper weed is a myth. The fucking rapper weed is a myth. In California, that shit is dirt cheap. What the fuck you think makes the price in New York so high? It's because you got a ton of middlemen between California and New York that is throwing numbers on something. By the time it gets to you, it's at a high fucking price. You need to find a plug because you're fucking up the game. You need to find a plug. Now you got people selling CBD for exotics. You know, this is how commercialized the weed game is. You got people selling CBD as exotics. That's why you got bullshit weed out there. You got people who think they know everything about weed because they use leafy. Let me say this, man. Just because that shit is on leafy doesn't mean that you know what weed is which. Let me tell you that. Coming from an experienced person in this field. The game is twisted now, man. The game is twisted. Speaking of weed, haven't you noticed that the weed movies that's been coming out recently has been involving? I don't know if you know, but the weed movie Inception was in the 1930s. I believe 1936. Reefer Madness comes out. If you don't know what Reefer Madness is, Reefer Madness was a cult propaganda classic. It is a movie that America was pushing to scare people from using weed. You know, it was produced by George Hurleman, and it was really big propaganda shit. Motherfuckers looked like they were smoking crack, but they were smoking weed. But their reaction was like they were smoking crack. They was trying to scare people out of smoking. But with that being, the beginning of the weed movie, now you got movies like How High, Half Baked, Up in Smoke, Friday, Grandma's Boy, Harold and Kumar, Go to White Castle, and all the other parts that they have. Pineapple Express, The Stone Age, Homegrown. What is your favorite weed movie? Let me know in the comments. Let me know what is your favorite weed movie. I'm not gonna lie to you. If you're looking for something serious about bud, Homegrown is that. If you're looking for some real wacky Porgies, Revenge of the Nerds shit, Grandma's Boy is that. If you're looking for some, old school Cheech and Chong type of shit, Half Baked and How High is that vein. One of my favorite movies is The Stoned Age. For people, if you don't know what The Stoned Age is, it was a great movie. It was about two dudes trying to get women with a little bit of bullshit weed, some liquor, and they driving around town trying to get women. Crazy, very funny. One of my favorites. I watched it like somewhere in the 90s, late 90s, but great movie, man. If you want it, I want you to talk to me about what weed movie are you rocking with? They got so many out there now. When I looked it up on Google, it's so many bud movies. There's one, I forgot the name of it, which I was looking for, was The Joint, where dude was partners with a military person. He was like a scientist or whatever you call a person that grows flowers. And they come together, they make this super duper ill strand of bud, and like other weed dealers is trying to body these dudes. It's a great movie. It came out maybe within the past 10 years. If anybody know the name of that movie, please let me know. But it's a great, great flick, man. Speaking of movies, I know you're gonna bug out right now, but one of the movies I seen recently, which a lot of y'all more than likely have seen, but I didn't see it. I just saw Limitless. Limitless is a great, great movie, man. My cousin Rob put me on. I checked it out. I was stuck. I was about to get into the television show. That's how hooked I was with this movie. If you don't know, the movie's about a dude who takes a drug that allows him to use more than 20% of his brain. 20% of your brain is what the average person uses. This drug allows you to use the other 80%. Boy, it's like the Matrix mixed with some other shit. I can't even describe it. It is next level. It is dope. Robert De Niro is in the movie. He's the competition of the main character. Check it out. Limitless, man. Another movie that I checked out recently, you're probably going to laugh at me when you hear me say this. I never seen it, though. And I feel bad I didn't, because when I watched it this weekend or last weekend, it's a fucking good movie. I just watched Mo Better Blues. Mo Better Blues by Spike Lee, Denzel Washington, Wesley Snipes, Robin Harrison, God bless the dead, the comedian. It was a great movie, man. Samuel Jackson is also in the movie. And my man from Superfly 2, which was a whack movie, the main bad guy that was laughing like, in Superfly 2 is one of the bad guys in Mo Better Blues. He is Samuel Jackson, right-hand man in Mo Better Blues. Great movie, written fantastic. Shout out to Spike Lee, man. an icon in the game. But super dope movie, man. Super dope movie. If you haven't seen Mo Better Blues, check it out. Last movie that I've watched recently, I'm surprised I watched it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm surprised that I watched it. Something drew me to it. I'm not gonna lie to you. I'm a Mr. Rogers fan. The movie is called A Friendly Day in the Neighborhood. Excellent movie. Tom Hanks plays Mr. Rogers. It's not an action-packed film. If you're looking for some action-packed, shoot-'em-up shit, this is not it. This movie is about a writer who is sent to write a story on Mr. Rogers, and he's expecting Mr. Rogers to be like a fake dude, a character, some type of, he's just acting. And Mr. Rogers was really like how he portrayed himself in the television show. And he played most of the characters on the show, the puppets wise. Mr. Rogers was a genius. He played classical music. The music to Mr. Rogers, he was the writer of. He was a genius. And he was like a self-proclaimed monk or nun. He was married though. But he was like very religious, read the Bible every day, and he was about helping our kids, man. And since this episode is fat nutrition, he wasn't given the fat nutrition. He was given the good nutrition. He was giving out food. My mother said he taught me how to tie my sneaker. I don't remember that, but she said he taught me how to tie my sneaker, Great movie. It was written well. Great story. And it made me look at myself. Mr. Rogers was a regular dude, but he was learning how to deal with feelings in this proper fashion without exploding, beating up somebody, killing yourself, that type of thing. And he had ways to deal with these emotions, anger, sadness, whatever. So a couple of tips I took from the movie. The movie was great. Matter of fact, my bad. I got one last movie, man. One last movie. And I feel like a asshole because I didn't see this either. I just saw Black Dynamite for the first time, man. Black Dynamite is hands down a dope movie, man. It has the black dude that does all the kung fu movies. I don't know his name. I'm gonna next episode I'll tell y'all his name. He's a great actor. He does a lot of karate shit in his films. He's the person behind Black Dynamite. It was a funny movie. It's a black exploitation. Not sad. It's what you call satire. They making fun of black exploitation films. That's what the movie is based on, and it has my girl from Mad TV, aka the fake Saturday Night Live, the white girl from Mad TV. The bad guy is Richard Nixon. They call him Tricky Dicky. They had some liquor that they was trying to get black people to drink that made their penises smaller. It's crazy. I also watched a couple of episodes of the cartoon. The cartoon is funny as fuck also. I watched the Michael Jackson one. Oh my God. If you haven't watched the cartoon, the Michael Jackson episode is the one you should start with first, man. Yo, Black Dynamite, man. I'm still trying to figure out how that shit even made it into the theater. How the fuck did they get Black Dynamite into the theater? It's filled with sex, drugs, everything politically incorrect. I don't know how they got this in the movie. I'm very surprised that it was like a little bit short of porn, kind of. You know what I mean? No, I'm not gonna say that. But it definitely had a lot of sexual scenes. The language was very strong. It was to me, it was more than an R-rated movie. It was like motherfucking an A-rated movie. You know what I mean? Very adult type of flick. He got it in the movie theaters though, so shout out to him. Great show though. Great cartoon. Great movie. I'm gonna switch lanes a little bit. You know, damn, my glasses and falling and shit. Recently, I was thinking to myself, like, I seen a lot of fights in my lifetime. I've also been in a lot of fights in my lifetime. I won a lot, lost a couple, you know. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. So, you know, I'm into fighting, whether it's boxing or street fighting. You know, Kimbo Slice, UFC, regular boxing. Wilder got his ass whipped by the gypsy guy. You know, that type of thing. I'm into pugilism. That's what they call that. So I got a question for y'all, especially for my street people who's from the streets. If y'all know about the 52, it's a fighting style that used to be very popular in New York City. The 52, you got a lot of our OGs, people that's older than myself. I'm 45, so you talking about the dudes that's 47 and better, 50. You know, 52, the 52 was a very popular fighting style. I want to ask y'all this. Do y'all think the 52 can stand up to a trained boxer? Again, let me repeat that again. Do y'all think that the 52 can stand up to a trained boxer? So I'm going to give y'all my answer first. Honestly, I think if a nigga try to do the 52 against a professional boxer, they're going to get their ass dropped. The 52 is not even an attack. It's not an offense. If you know anything about the 52, you know, it's saying like, you know, niggas be like this. Pardon me. I don't really do physical stuff on the show, so I just wanted to show that. So the 52 is like, it's a blocking style, right? That's done really fast. It's not an offensive technique. It's not an offensive technique. If you was fighting somebody that really box, only thing that you'll be able to do is block. It's not an attack style. Now, if a person is fighting, a person is using a 52, and they're fighting another person who's using a 52, then it becomes a stylish fight. You know what I mean? It's a fight because both are using the style. The style is very stylistic. So if both people are using the style, then it becomes a pretty fight. It becomes a pretty fight. It's fair. But if a person is using the 52 and a person is just using straight up boxing techniques, I think a nigga with the boxing techniques will fuck up the person using the 52. I want to know how you feel about it. All my OGs out there, you know, from the streets and shit like that, let me know how you feel. Do y'all think that the 52 can stand up to a person who's a trained boxer? Let me know. I sure don't. I just saw a dude recently doing the 52. That's what made me think of this. I just seen a dude on Instagram doing the 52 super fast. Crazy. Let me say this. I have an uncle that used to do the 52. And he was very stylistic when it came to doing the 52. The 52 looks dope when you look at it. But is it effective in a real fight? I don't know. But my uncle he's ill with that shit. You know, so I seen it in, there's mad tricks to it that, you know, dudes act like they drop something on the floor and they hit the person. It's crazy. It's very stylistic, you know. It's not hardcore boxing. It's really style. You know, a person fighting with style. But let me know how you feel about that, man. Speaking about old school shit, man, I got a story to tell y'all, man. A funny story too, man. And, you know, speaking about old school shit, my man Charles, rest in peace, my man was an OG. He's like 10, 15 years older than me, you know. At least more than 10 years older than me. And, you know, my man used to, you know, he used to be in his own world, you know. And if you seen him, a lot of people seen Charles, and you would just assume that he was a drunk, you know. That he didn't have any real sense, that, you know, all he did was drink. I'm going to say that's not the truth. You know, my man Charles, you know, we got a lot of money together. We had real conversations together. We actually lived together for a little while. So I'm going to say this: never judge a book by its cover. And that's the lesson I wanted to say with this story, man. When you're looking at different things and you're looking at people, man, you know, never judge a book by its cover. That's another form of foul nutrition. They feed us so much bullshit about people that when we look at them, we have these assumptions and we have these judgments without meeting the person. You know? So my man Charles, one day he comes to, this is in the early 2000s. My man Charles comes to my crib one day. I think I was in my son's mother's house at the time. So we up there, I used to bag up shit, you know, sell shit out the crib and all that stuff. And we up there getting fucked up. My son's mother wasn't there. And it's just me and him. It was about 7 o'clock and Jeopardy comes on. For those that don't know, Jeopardy is one of my favorite shows. It's my mom's favorite show too. Shout out to all my people who watch Jeopardy. Jeopardy is a fucking dope show. But Jeopardy comes on. And my man Charles is there with me. He got his beer in his hand and shit. He's all fucking drunk and belligerent and shit like that. So Jeopardy comes on, and I'm used to answering a lot of questions on Jeopardy. I'm kind of good in Jeopardy. Not like I used to be. I'm getting, my memory is not as it used to be. But, you know, I used to be real swift and quick at Jeopardy. I used to get at least 10 answers correct on Jeopardy. So I'm sitting there with Charles and shit. And he's getting drunk, I'm smoking and shit. We watching Jeopardy. And this dude is answering all the fucking questions. Let me say this. Jeopardy has about 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, maybe between 30, 35 questions and answers every round. This motherfucker was answering like 20 questions in each round. I was barely getting 2 or 3. This motherfucker was getting 20. This nigga's a genius. My man was a genius. So you never know, man. You never know what's in the person's mental. That's why you can't judge a book by its cover. Whether it be the police, whether it be even children. Sometimes we look at children and be like, oh, they the greatest kid. And deep down, these motherfuckers is lighting fires when nobody's around. They're stealing, they're smoking. You know, you got to judge an individual by their actions. You got to judge an individual by their actions. And that's why I'm not pro-black nor anti-white. I'm not cool with somebody just because they black. Some of the foulest people I've known who are black. And I'm not automatically against a person because they're not black. You know, I judge a person individually by my interaction with them. What conversation we're having, what we're doing together. You may have a person outside of your race who's helping you in life for real, and has nothing to do with race. And then you may have a person of your race who don't give a fuck about you. You know? So never judge a book by its cover, man. Never judge a book by its cover, man. You know? Judge a thing, a person, whatever, by its merits. That's what you're supposed to be doing. You know? It'll give you a better outcome with these people. Because when you jump out the window without no parachute, all you're going to do is crash to the floor. That's all. That's all. You're going to have some resentment. You're going to have a chip on your shoulder. And a lot of the times, I'm not going to say a lot of the times, most of the times, it's not the whole. It's not the whole. Your interaction with that particular person on that particular day, that's an isolated incident. You can't judge a race by your one interaction with that one person. You will be a fool. So never judge a book by its cover, man. I'm trying to give you a good nutrition. Instead of that foul nutrition that they gave us and they're giving us right now, I'm trying to give you some good nutrition. On a side note, a lot of rappers right now, so if you're a rapper and you're listening to me right now, a lot of rappers right now are getting jerked. They are being charged to be on some MCs or some big name rappers mixtape. I'm hearing a lot of people talk about this, man, especially during the pandemic. Let me tell y'all, man. First of all, you shouldn't be paying out the wazoo to be on no fucking rappers mixtape. First of all. Second of all, why we not hearing these mixtapes? Social media has changed the game, man. YouTube has changed the game. So you paying a whole lot of money to be on a mixtape that you could go on YouTube for, that is not being released in no stores, it's barely any advertisement. That shit ain't worth nothing. A lot of rappers, they don't have, since the pandemic and shit shut down and you gotta have the vaccine. Since a lot of this shit is happening, a lot of rappers are not making no money. So they're looking for new blueprints and new ways to make money. And some of them are using up-and-coming MCs to make money. A lot of these up-and-coming MCs don't know the game. So they getting jerked. So let me tell y'all right now, man. Stop paying these rappers to be on their mixtapes. A lot of these rappers don't even have a buzz musically to be charging anyone to be on anything. Do your research, man. Stop being so hungry and eager to be on somebody else's shit. What the fuck, man? On another side note, a lot of people been asking me about the KRS versus Kane battle and how I feel about it. Let me tell y'all this first of all. First of all, this is my only trending topic. I don't do trending topics, but since so many people been asking me about this, I'm going to give y'all my honest opinion. I don't like Kane ever since he dropped Taste of Chocolate album. I stopped liking Kane when he had a regular suit in the symphony. He fucked up the symphony video. And I've been saying that for over 20 years. When he started fucking with Madonna, the game was over. Kane was done. Let me say, I'm not a KRS fan either. I'm not a KRS fan either. I like a lot of his music, but I'm not a KRS fan either. Especially with that African Bambaataa shit. But we're not going to put that into this. I knew KRS was going to beat Kane because Kane's career ends in 92. KRS dropped Return of the Boom Bap in the mid 90s with DJ Premier. It's a classic album. I'm a blunt getting smoking. I can't wake up. Whoop whoop is the sign of the police. Whoop whoop is the sign of that's classic shit. So I knew he was going to beat Kane off of that. Kane is overrated. I'm a Brooklyn person too, but Kane is overrated. I pick Coogee Rap over Kane, but I tell y'all, I'm mad at Kane when he wore a fucking suit in the symphony. I'm mad when he started singing his hooks or having these sing-along hooks when he thought he was smoother than Barry White. So fuck Kane. KRS-One automatically won. And again, I am not a KRS-One fan, but everybody knows, let me just say this. For anybody who think Pimpin' Ain't Easy is a classic, you're out of your mind. Now, let me just say this. Kane's history can't be denied. He wrote for Bismarck. He wrote for Shantae. He wrote for a lot of people, man. His first two albums is a classic, hands down, respectfully. But when he smoothed out, he fucked the game up. He's one of the first rappers that I disliked. He's one of the first rappers that I knew. I asked myself or asked my friends, what is Kane doing? I didn't understand hip hop that much, but I knew that he was fucking the game up. So that's how I feel about Kane. Last but not least, man, on topics. The Gucci pop-up happened recently. If you don't know, they just had the Gucci pop-up. It's over now, I believe. The 24th was the last day. It happened it was on 14th Street. 14th Street, Union, 14th Street somewhere. Gucci celebrates 100 years of with their collection. They have pop-ups happening all over. It was in 14th Street. Big situation. I'ma say this, Gucci is Gucci. Gucci is Gucci. They have survived the times. They have reinvented themselves, reestablished themselves. They have new customers, old customers. They are one of the GOATs of this shit. 100 years. Shout out to Gucci, man. I had a pair of Gucci shades. Niggas stole it. But Gucci has been a household name for over 100 years. Let me say this. Gucci has been named 22,705 times in lyrics since 1921. That's crazy. That's crazy. What Dapper Dan did with Gucci, and now, Gucci stole his designs. What kind of shit is that? As I always say, the head starts to trends, So this pop-up is in Houston, Miami, Chicago, Atlanta. Big shit, man. I seen the advertisement in the train station. I wish I could have went. I just been busy for these past couple of weeks, man. But from what I'm hearing, or what I saw, it looked dope, man. It looked dope. So we're coming to the end of this show. I want to say this too, man. I need you to check out my show, The Fundamental Show, on live365.com. It's called The Fundamental Show. Check it out. It's on Friday, Saturday, and Sundays at 7 p.m. We feature music from all the upcoming MCs, household names, underground, drill, classic, whatever. We are playing pure hip-hop. So I need you to check it out on our S.STREET Media Radio station on live365.com. Man, I also want to say today's mathematics. Today's one of my favorite numbers. Today's the 25th, which equals 22 plus 5 equals 7. Wisdom is 2, power is 5, and God is 7. Wisdom, God, pardon self. Wisdom, power, all being born of God. Wisdom is the wise word spoken by a wise man. Wisdom is also symbolic to the black woman because she is secondary but most necessary. Wisdom is the ways and actions which one uses to let their knowledge be known. Wisdom is the wise dome, or to speak to the wise dumb. Power is the truth. Power is the force used on objects. Refinement. is to clean yourself up mentally as well as physically, as well as spiritually, as well as in all ways. The strongest power is to say no. It is hard to say no. Refinement, true refinement is real power. God is the supreme being, the black man of Asia. God cipher divine, Gumar al-Zubar, wisdom, strength, and beauty, which is a Greek term. God is the highest form of living mathematics. You must walk around knowing the truth. You must show that. Because we are an example to people who's watching us. That's what the wisdom does. The wisdoms let people know what's in the mind. You know what I mean? And when you show that power, when you refine from certain things, you're not lying, you're not stealing, you're not dealing with the poisonous pig. You refine yourself from that devilishment. You refine yourself from the things that the normal people are doing that is wrong, that foul nutrition, you refrain from. And that's how you show the true power of God. God is a living example. God is not just words, but action. That's what God is. The 25th is a powerful day. In Brand Nubian song, he said, I wrote this on a day of wisdom power, or being born of myself, God. Powerful line that was in the song Wake Up. I'm mathematics. Thank you all for chilling with me tonight. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie to you. I've been bumping into words and all that shit. It's been a while since I did the show. I apologize if I bumped into a couple of words. I stumbled a little bit. But I appreciate y'all for being here. You know, let me give a shout out to all my business partners, man. Get Fed Records, the 1718 Collective, Style by Poverty, The Business, Umbrella Studios, COD Music, Quiet Money Entertainment, and Made for Kings. All my business partners, man. Shout out to S.STREET Media for allowing me to do this show here and bring y'all real life shit. My name is Anthony, Mathematics Womble, and this is Style by Poverty, the Oddcast. Good night. Peace.